One. Welcome to episode 2 of Ask a Black Woman podcast. I am so excited. My name is Dr. Lulu. I am the chief host of the podcast, but as always, I have a co-host with me today. And today my co-host is Coach Lencia. Hi, girl. What's going on? Hey, girl. Hey.
Hello, how are you? I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for allowing me to co-host with you. I'm excited.
Yes, thank you so much for allowing yourself to co-host. I always begin by saying, why did you say yes? I just always want to say, why did you say yes? You don't know me. Why did you say yes?
Because you're a Black woman and you have a podcast. And you were looking, and Threads is our community, right? Like Threads is our community. So when you put out the clarion call, I'm like, oh, okay. Like my people are on Threads. And so I believe in supporting people, like I didn't know anything about you. Still don't know that much about you, but I knew that you were a Black woman and that you were doing something new. And I always like to support Black women doing anything new, no matter what they're doing. So yeah.
Even for me, doing anything new or old, I think Black women, that's just what we do. We are like this
Yes.
very strong lattice of support. And I don't know if you watched the welcome video, but the truth is, I don't know that lady. I'm going to go find her now that the show is a thing and tell her about it because she doesn't know that. But she was like, yeah, got you. Like, what do you need? Like,
Right.
Black women are like that. We're like a soft pillow. We're like a cushion. You just can't go wrong with us, which is why the world is messed up because they don't want to appreciate it. But guess what? We appreciate each other, and that's all that counts.
That's all that matters, right? Absolutely.
So, as you know, every co-host that comes on the show has to ask a question, and we answer the question as part of the show. So, if you had a question, whatever it is, you have any question in the world to ask so that we can discuss it as the answer, what question would that be for you, my love?
I think the question is, how do high achieving Black women handle burnout? Like
Mm.
how they handle, like how are they handling balancing all of these things that are coming at them? Motherhood, some being wives or some being CEOs and all the things are coming at us. The world is coming at us. How are we navigating through or even trying to prevent the burnout that comes from that? To being everything to everybody in the world, like literally everything to everybody.
I'll say yes to that. So, I mean, that's a great question. I don't think that's also a hard question in the sense that we're all asking it right now. We're all finally realizing that you do not ever want to incinerate yourself while you're trying to keep somebody else warm. And that's what Black women have been doing for ages. So I say, let's go. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Why did you ask that question of all the questions in the world? Why that one?
It's a topic that I'm actually passionate about. I actually teach these things to high achieving Black women, like how not even I don't teach the how to prevent, right? Like that's not my audience. Trying to teach you to prevent burnout, you're not there where I need you to be in order for my teaching to be effective, right? My person is the person who is already in the thick of the burnout and they need me to teach them how to unlearn all of these things that they've learned to now you come out just being you, right? You go in with your titles and what it is that people need from you, but you come out understanding what you need from yourself and exactly who you are. So
What do you need from yourself? So again, just like Dr. Alisa before you, it's more like a reconnecting to self. I love that. Okay. So you're not working with people as a coach, you don't work with people who are pre-burnout.
right,
That's a
right.
very interesting thing. It's a very interesting. So you have to already like be in the thick of it. Wow. Naturally, I'm going to ask you, how did you come up with that? How did it, of all the things to work on, how did that happen?
Well, let me answer it two ways. One of the reasons why I don't work with those who haven't reached burnout yet, because I myself, no matter what people said to me while I was on my way to burnout, I didn't listen. I
Mhm.
could not see what others saw. So I just kept going and kept going and kept going. And as Black women, yeah, like we got to hit, I'm just being honest. I'm the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. We have to hit our heads and find out for ourselves first, right? And so
Nice.
so it is sort of kind of like a mute point to coach Black women who are on their way to burnout because they can't see it. If they could see it, they wouldn't be on their way to burnout, right? And
Wow.
so, how I came
That's
about that is just understanding of what I needed, right? Like one day somebody asked me what was my hobbies. And I was like, well, I like to, I've been in HR for 10 years in the federal government. And so I'm talking about HR and I'm talking about this. And none of what I said was actually something that was attributed to me as an individual. And they was like, no, I'm talking about like your hobbies, like, do you like reading and or what? And I
You
was
like
like,
knitting. Do you like knitting? You like sitting down and having your nails done. Do you want to go to...
right. And she was
Oh,
like,
that
well,
is
I
very
used to like
interesting.
to read. And it was like, well, what made you stop? And I was like, my life got busy. So you don't
Yeah.
make the time anymore. And that's when I understood that I had to go through a process of coming back to myself and learning who I am now in this season. And once I got that, I was like, oh, yeah, this is something that you have to teach other women because we'll be 80 years old and still leading by titles and what it is that the world needs from us and what it is that we do versus who we actually are. So, yeah.
Well, that's a lot to unpack because one of the things I say is smart people learn from their mistakes and smarter people learn from other people's mistakes. But you're saying you don't have to, even if you're smarter, when it comes to burnout, you're not finna learn from other people. Is that what you're saying? Because that's a very interesting angle. And which is the whole idea of this podcast, just exploring all those things that we don't necessarily talk about. So you know how they say in coaching that you're almost always your first client. Were you your first client?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Undoubtedly. Okay. I was my first client. And I probably failed at coaching myself a couple of times before I was like, okay, now I think I'm a success story.
Uh, I love that. So my story, I thanks for asking. But my story is truly I work cost me my second marriage. It didn't cost me my
Mm,
first one. I ran away from my first one because I was just like I was gonna become homicidal. I was really becoming homicidal. So I had to run away from that. But my second marriage, I know she complained about, she just said, you just love your work so much. And honestly, I've never sat down to think about the fact that I didn't believe it. I was like, until she left. And I was like, she was right. So yeah, I knew myself on all this. I was a commander in the U.S. Air Force, a lieutenant colonel. I was in charge of the base. I was a medical director. I had all these medical students, all these doctors underneath me. I was work with. I'm also a mom, wife, but I'm at work. So it's like all of these things. And then now, well, the kids are grown, the marriage is over, and I'm like, yeah, I love karaoke. So now every Thursday I am well, every Wednesday I'm
I
at
love
karaoke.
it.
And then I love open mic. Every Thursday I'm at open mic. If I'm not in town, then I'm not able to do it. But if I'm in town in Atlanta, Georgia, Wednesday karaoke, Thursday open mic. But
I
but
love it.
but I've always liked to do those things. But once upon a time, I was just like, yeah, I'm just too busy. I'm just too busy. Wow, this is very, very interesting. You want to share your story a little bit? Do you mind if I ask?
Yes, yes. First of all, thank you for your service, right? I'm a Navy veteran. I am a Navy veteran. So you are my people. And your story resonates so deeply because you just explained exactly why it is that I work with people after they're burnt out, right? Like you were getting the warning signs and you just like, wait a minute, no, not my job. Like, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Balancing this because in the military we're like, we got this. Okay, we got
Yes.
this. Right now, we
Oof.
got this.
Mm.
And then, the brick wall comes. But for me, I am a CEO. I have been in business legally since 2015, or officially, I'll say since 2015. I've been planning events and conferences since 2008. And so, um, I'm gonna tell my age. I'm 45, and in a few days, less than a week, I will graduate with my master's degree. And aside, thank you. So aside from being a wife, a mom, being at one point in the military, right? Running a business, being an employee and an employer at the same time, like I had to just unlearn and find my place in life. And so I was thinking about it this morning as I'm getting ready for the podcast, and I'm like, my kids watched me get 3 degrees. They watched me work full time, go to school full time, and they saw how the product of it, right? They saw the results of it. But I also need them to see me being me, who I am outside of being mom, who I am outside of being their dad's wife, who I am, like outside of being a Navy veteran, like who am I outside of being a CEO, like who am I as a person, right? Because ultimately, the only way that I can have a functional relationship with my now adult children, um, is for them to be able to relate to me person to person, right? You have grown kids, so when they transition into adulthood, even though they still respect us as their parents, right? There's a certain level of a mutual respect, and they have to be able to look at you and respect you as an individual in order for them to actually allow you into their life. And
Absolutely, I
so,
agree.
yeah,
I agree.
that's
I,
where I'm at now.
I have so many questions. So I want to know, first of all, why 3 degrees, girl? What's going on? Because I'm like you, I got
Actually,
3 degrees too, but why 3 degrees? What's the going on? Like the whole, I don't know. I'm 57 and I love talking about my age now. I mean, I've always loved talking about my age, but more so now because I know I don't look 57, but even if I did, age is a number.
that part.
That said, when I was younger, in the 70s, there was a group called 3 Degrees, one of my favorite all-girl group Black girls. They're like gazelles, beautiful, tall, just ultra femme. I don't know if you know the group called 3 Degrees. And I don't know if
So,
that's what's stuck in my head, but don't you know I have 3 degrees? And I'm just, but why 3 degrees?
actually, I have four. So I have two
Go!
associates, a bachelor's, and this one will be my master's.
Master,
And I'm gonna
yes.
blow your mind one step further because I'm going back in August and getting another master's. So
Oh,
here's the thing, right? Like with my associate's degree, when I first went back to school, I was trying to show my kids because I'm telling them how the importance of school, right? At that time, I wasn't really focused on a whole lot. I was like, you know what? I'll go to school for nursing, right? I'm going to go to school for nursing. But I really wanted, my motivation was to show my children mommy coming home and studying, right? Like mommy going to school, and I'm parallel demonstrating to them, right? Like what it is that I'm telling them to do. I don't want to tell you anymore. I want to show you, right? I want to show you from my actions. And so that's what I graduated from two colleges on the same day. I only attended one, but I only attended one graduation, but I graduated from both of those on the same day. And then um, here's the short version of my story. I live in the Chicagoland area, and I was going to Chicago State University, and I had applied for their nursing program. Well, at the time, I was a wife, I was a mom. I'm working, I'm doing all the things. And when we got to this interview, because I scored high on the Nelson Denny, my T's, I'm in the top 5%. Like I'm killing it education wise. When
literally.
we get in the interview, and they relied heavy on like the extracurricular stuff. And I'm like, baby, I'm a mama. Okay. I don't have time to be on this campus playing with the children. Okay. I'm a mama. Okay. And so I didn't get into the nursing program. And at that point, I'm devastated because I'm like, it was a sure thing for me. And so they were like, well, you can apply again in a year. Y'all do not know me because I'm not sitting around for a year to wait on you to give me a chance. No, 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 no. No, I got black girl magic. That's not what we do. And so I went and started doing the research. My husband kept saying, well, we're veterans. We should go into the federal government. I'm like, okay. And back then on USA Jobs, those applications were horrible. They were horrible. Anyway, and so, but I went and looked at the different industries to find out who had the salary that could be my goal. HR specialist was the salary that was my goal. What did I do? I went and enrolled in school and I got a bachelor's degree in technical management with a focus in human resources management. I finished school October, I think it was like maybe a couple of weeks after I got my first federal job in HR. And that's where I've been since. This last degree, the one that I'm graduating with now, it's in marketing and digital marketing. Marketing was the thorn in my side. So what did I do as a Black woman? I went and learned it for myself because I got tired of paying people and not being able to measure their deliverables when they were just blowing smoke. And I'm spending thousands of dollars and I don't know if you know what you're doing or not because I don't know it myself. So
Because
what
I
did
don't
I
know
do?
what to do. Yes,
Yep. I went and
absolutely.
got a
So
degree.
one of the things I do on the show, even though you're only the second co-host ever, but on all of my podcasts, usually at the bottom of the hour, I do a quick reset. So the show is called Ask a Black Woman Podcast. And today I'm joined by Coach Lencia, who is telling us about how to burn out right almost, or how to not burn out, or how when you are burned out, then she can now push you out of the oil while you're frying and getting burned. And then basically telling us how she's not done with 4 degrees. She wants to get a fifth one. And so I wonder if I may ask what you're running from. Because as a life coach, that's what I'm hearing. You're running towards, yeah, I mean, of course, you're running towards something, but anybody who's running towards anything is running from somewhere. So if you were going to ask yourself that question, what would you say is your reason for running from? I mean, what would you say you were running from that is now the reason why you're getting a fifth degree? Because with all the degrees you have, why haven't you found nirvana with them?
So I'm gonna go around to answer your question. No,
Yep.
I'm gonna answer your question directly first. The idle time, right? Like the uncertainty of life and not being prepared, right? So the marketing degree was for my business. I'm going back in August because last year I exited the federal government, right? And so now as I'm applying for private sector HR, it is a totally different industry, right? It's totally different certifications and all of that that I didn't have to have when I was in the federal sector. And so in getting this current degree, I was like, oh, I think like data analytics. I've always been a techie girl. I'm a nerd, so whatever. So I said, why not get this in my pocket? So in August, my master's will be in data analytics. You know why? I did my research again because I ended up in another space where I'm looking for employment and I want to see what can my goal be. And no matter whether I was in the private sector or the public sector, right, or even the federal government, data analytics, business information systems, data scientists, everyone was hiring for something with data and AI. Oh, okay. Let me go get this accelerated degree real quick. Put this in my pocket because when the time comes, I can shift, right? Like this, I can pivot. Now I'm not kept in the box of human resources, right? Now, okay, I can now apply for a data analytics position because this current degree, I don't want to help. I can teach other people how to do it. I don't want to do it for other people. This degree was for me. This was for me and my business that I run. But for data analytics, in the event that anything happens, I got it in my pocket. So yeah, I am running from that idle time. I am running from not being prepared. I'm running from the, I guess you want to say, the ability of society or corporate America to be able to determine my fate.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I heard. That's what I
Yes.
heard, which is very interesting. as a coach for burnout? Because one of the things that we say in the coaching business is that yes, you are your client, you are your first client, and you're ideally always maybe one or two steps only ahead of your client. So it's very interesting that you coach people who are in burnout. It almost sounds like your coaching goal is to remain burnt out. Is that the goal for them, or
No.
to get out of it? Because for you to still be on the sounds like you're still on the hamster wheel. And so
I wish.
what about the sixth degree and the seventh degree? I
Oh
mean,
no,
there's always something
no,
that you don't know, right? So when are you
no.
going to stop? I guess is my question. Getting the
Um,
degrees.
I will say this. The other thing about school is, you know how some people go and get their nails done, and it makes them feel, relax. That is what school is
Who
for
does for
me.
you?
I'm not even lying. Like, that is what
This stuff
school
up. You
is for
cannot
me.
make this stuff up. Oh my
It's like a
goodness.
relaxation, and it is my own like it's the only space really where it's me against me. Right? Like, it is me against me. If I get a C in the class, I'm looking in the mirror like, it ain't the teacher, sis. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's me against me. And so, like, for there are so many, there's low hanging fruit, but school isn't it. Right? Like, school isn't it. There are so many things that I do that I can pull, um, just doing what it is that I need to do to replenish myself. But I think one of the biggest things about burning out, it isn't really about removing the things. It is about pacing yourself and making sure that when your cup is empty, you go and take time to fill back up, right? And so,
Ah,
it's not about like, and I know it sounds like I'm on the hamster wheel, but no, I took 2 years. For 2 years, I didn't plan a retreat. I do retreats all over the world.
yeah, you
I didn't
said
do it
that.
for 2 years. For 2 years, I was like, I just need time to rest, right? I knew when to put this thing down. This thing, everyone knows me by Grind and Grace experience. They know this is a luxury retreat. This is what the people know me for. And I did not hesitate to put it down, because if it was going to take away my peace at the moment, or it wasn't going to allow me to be filled back up in the way that I needed to, there's no need for me to show up and bleed on the people, right? I need to be full when I pour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to be empty. I need to be full. And so I knew that. And so I took the time.
Yeah, that is so interesting. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for whatever it is that makes anybody's cup get refilled. I was almost going to ask you what was the moment you knew you were burned out, but I don't know if the question is relevant anymore because I don't know. Was there like a
It is.
moment? You
It
okay.
was. Um, the last retreat that I did before taking a 2 year hiatus, I did it on Royal Caribbean. We flew to Venice, Italy. We got on the boat, and it was a heavy, heavy lift for planning a retreat, right? Like, it was a lot of logistics going on when you have everyone pretty much coming from the United States. And the way that I take care of my attendees and my speakers and everybody, like, I'm very involved. And so at that point, I said it out loud. I was like, I'm tired.
Mm.
And I was like, this was a lot. And I then opened my ears to hear people around me saying, like, you are doing this. Like, you don't have to, like, make sure that adults get where they need to be. Like, and I'm like, no, I got to make sure, I got to take care of my people. And they were like, no, you don't, and then in the middle of it, like, having people comment, they're like, oh, can you pray for me? Can you this is my problem. And I just reached a point where I was like, y'all gonna figure it out without me. Y'all gonna figure it out without me. And I got to a point where there was a long period of time I couldn't cry. I'm carrying everybody else's stuff, right? Like, I can feel and be empathetic towards people, right? But I couldn't cry. Not for just like simple things, right? And so At that moment, I was like, I need a release. I need to release for me. And when I got to that point, I knew like, okay, it's time to shift. There are things that I gotta do now because I'm saying I'm tired. And one thing
Um,
that Black women don't say is that we're
yeah,
tired. And by
that
the time
part.
we say we tired, is
It's
we
over.
far gone.
It's on the deathbed. That is so beautiful because I'm a poet. One of the things I do is spoken word, and one of my latest poems is actually was born because I was watching a movie. It happened to be a white person that was on the bed, a white woman on her deathbed. She had some kind of cancer, and she asked the doctor. The question she asked the doctor was, "How much time do I have?" And the doctor paused a little bit and said, "Less than you would like."
Mm,
And so the poem is around that, about around how much time do you think you have, and and all of that, and how one day you will also ask the doctor, how much time do you have? And your answer will be less than you'd like. And then the real question becomes, what are you going to do with the time that you have right now? And I think I posted, I may or may not have posted it on the poetry threads recently, just because I was in that space. But yeah, that's just such an interesting thing that, you finally say, you know what, I'm tired and I need to stop. And I knew exactly when I got burned out. It was a lot for me. I was finishing, I think it was around, or maybe it was multiple times, but it was around, I had already said I was going to retire on my 30th anniversary as a physician. So I was already going to do that. So on my 30th birthday as a doctor, literally July 5th, 2021 was 30 days that I took my oath. I hung up my stethoscope and I was like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. But before that, it was just multiple times when I was just like, good God. And I actually felt suicidal. Like it was really bad for me. I was like, I need to get out. No, not outside, get out. Just keep running and take a jump. It was like, this is not who I am. And for me, that was the moment. And so my first TEDx talk was around, I didn't want to talk about my own suicide because as a pediatrician, I want to talk about youth suicide because that is a real thing. And so it's around youth suicide, but it was very interesting how it was my own that led to that. And so I included that in the talk, but really that was the birth of it. I was like, what am I doing? Like, what is this? And actually I'm here today because my ex-wife was like, not on my watch. And she was like, no, this is not, no, no, all the things that needed to be done. So I guess the listeners may want to know, how did you indeed find your way out of it, and how, if you want to share, do you get your clients to come out of it, and or what would you like to talk about next?
so therapy, right? Like therapy and being honest in therapy, right? I had experienced therapy in the military where you have to be careful what you say, right? Especially depending on what you're talking about, somebody can get court-martialed. Like if you're going in therapy and you're being honest, real life experience, right? Someone can get court-martialed because they are required by the UCMJ
Yeah,
to report, right? And so that experience sort of trained me to not go in full blast in therapy, right? So now I'm a civilian. So now I'm going to therapy here and there throughout the years, and I just wasn't being my authentic self. I was like, oh, I have three kids that are older. My fourth kid has autism, and like it's just stressful, right? And it was, but I wouldn't touch childhood trauma. I wasn't touching the things that I felt like a therapist would judge me on. I mean, that's absolutely insane, but yeah. And so I started going to therapy and being honest in therapy about where I was, about my suicidal thoughts, about when they ask you the questions of within the last 90 days, have you had suicidal ideation? I told the truth because how can they really treat me if I'm not telling the truth, right?
I know.
And
I know.
so even beyond that, I just started to identify the things that I liked first. Just the things I liked first that I like to do. And I leaned into it just a little bit, right? And then I started digging into what I love to do.
Mm.
And that for me, and I'm just going to be completely transparent, I had to find those spaces because who I was is not who I am, right? And so, in different seasons of our life, we like and love different things.
That part.
And so, here I am in a new season of my life. I probably done skipped 5 seasons of trying to figure out what I love in life. And here it is now. I'm trying to find this thing within me, right? Like, what is this thing, right? How do I show up for me? And so I started to deconstruct everything. Of course, you learn structure in the military, but there's certain structure that is unhealthy for me. It may not be for everybody else, but for me, it's unhealthy, right? I started to make sure that I started to unblock the memories of trauma, right? Because I need to remember to know what I need to heal from, right? And so it was a lot of work that I did for me, but I think when I'm leading other people out of that space, that first thing is deconstruction. It is deconstruction, and then let's work on mindset, right? How are you looking at yourself? Years ago, I used to do a women's empowerment boot camp class. I brought in a mirror, and for the life of me, there would be literally people in tears in the class when I brought the mirror out. They're like, no, not the mirror.
They don't want to look at themselves. Yeah, yeah, I know.
Exactly.
So there's a lady I listened to on YouTube. Her name is she's since passed away, but they still have her voice. It's Laura something. I don't know her last name. And one of the things she talks about is how to just even just for 6 seconds, even 10 seconds, just looking at yourself in the mirror and literally telling yourself, I love you, which a lot of people cannot do. Just saying I love you to your own doggone reflection. People are like it's kind of weird. Yeah. But then you would tell a random stranger you love them, you know? So I just thought that was very interesting. Wow, this is a good conversation. I'm very
I
happy
love
that we're having it and we're talking about it. I do have just one or two more questions and then we'll kind of call it a day. The first one is the going back to school, is it your GI Bill that you're using? Because I want to make sure that people are also aware. I don't know how expensive or how cheap school is now. I haven't been to school in a minute, but going back to school as an adult, is it like a GI Bill thing that you're using therefore, or is it just like a scholarship, or is it you're paying and what's the deal?
Yes, let's dig into it because I need the women, the black women to know, right? Especially my veterans, right? Or if you are the spouse of a veteran.
Mhm.
So I am blessed. Both myself and my husband are 100% disabled veterans, right? So before we became 100% disabled veterans, yes, I was going to school using my GI Bill. For undergrad, I was also eligible for Pell Grant, right? And I still sought out scholarships. One of the scholarships, it's not even offered anymore because I live in Illinois. It was called the UV Golf Swing Club. And it's funny because the lady that was over that, I texted her the other night and I said, it is because of you and you all scholarship that now I'm about to graduate with a master's because y'all had my
Mm.
back with the finances then, and now here it is. It motivated me to keep going. And so she texted me back. I still have her number. She actually was at my when I graduated with my bachelor's. She came to the graduation.
Aw.
But it was the scholarship. It was using the GI Bill, making sure that I did my financial aid to make sure that I got my Pell Grant right. Now, in certain states, Illinois, Texas, and Florida, I know for sure for veterans, you can get in Illinois, it's called the Illinois Veterans Grant, IVG. You can get that grant and go to any public institution, and your tuition is paid. And so there are a lot of what did I say, parameters and requirements for that, because one of them is that you either had to go into the military in Illinois, or you had to have now been living in Illinois for 15 consecutive years to get IVG. However, there's another grant or scholarship called MIAPOW. The MIAPOW scholarship is for dependents of disabled veterans, where they will pay your tuition and your fees for 36 months. And it does not matter what level degree you are getting, right?
Yeah,
Um,
my baby gets that one because he's in college right now. He's because I'm also
yes,
100% disabled veteran. So, but my baby gets that one right now in college, and he gets a good stipend. I'm like,
at the
dude, what
35.
is he gets a
Yes,
good stipend? I'm like,
yes.
so I'm trying to get my middle baby to go back and get his master's, and it's like, mom, I was like, okay, all right, like, yeah, but the baby is like just like. Is able to pay his rent, is able to get a little bit of money on top of it, and then he has a little job. And I love being an empty nester now because I just started a new business, and my business is still trying to find its footing. And as a retired physician, the money is not coming in anymore as a physician. So being able to look for my baby, being able to use that, look,
It's a
I
blessing.
a big bless, huge blessing.
Yes,
Huge
yes.
blessing. So I cannot ever say that. Being joining the Air Force, there was a time because I joined, I was what we call a direct accession. So I came in at 42 as a lieutenant colonel, and I went straight
Okay.
to commander at the base in Lackland, at Maxwell, and then at Lackland. But anyway, I was just like, oh, what are you doing? You're crazy. What are you doing? You're crazy. But I'm so glad I did it because, look, now I get my little X amount of $1,000 a month, and I use that with my little Airbnb and my book sales or whatever, and I'm able to just like slide through every month. Thank
That
goodness.
part. Yeah.
And also has helped me because a lot of people have been like, your online persona. People think like because you're online all the time, you're maybe rich or whatever. Yes, I have investments. Yes, all these things, little things. But as far as on a month-to-month basis, yet I have millions of dollars coming in. I'm glad that I'm also at the place in my life now where I appreciate that I don't need all of that money to necessarily live my soft life, which is what I'm trying to harness. And
Oh,
so,
a soft life.
yeah, I'm just, yeah, because listen, there was a time when it was like, God, I was just working, and just like paying more taxes. I'm like, okay, what is this? What is this? And so I'm not a rich white man in America, so I don't get a tax break. So as a Black
That
woman,
part.
yeah, trying to just be okay with enoughness. And I think that's where I was going when I was asking you earlier on that when will it be enough for you, you as a person or any Black woman out there? Maybe that will be the next question for another episode. Like, what is enough? When is it enough? This
Mm.
whole going for more, going for more. For me, I had already said I was going to retire on my 30th anniversary. My friends were like, "Are you sure you're going to leave medicine? But you're a good doctor. But da 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 da. Are you being sued? Is everything okay?" I said, "No, I just want to retire. Like this is I'm not defined by this job." And then by then, my ex-wife and I had already split up, and I was like, "Yeah, exactly. I need. There's going to be another way. It's. Listen, it wasn't easy, but I'm here today and we're still friends. But I'm glad that I was able to say, you know what? I can actually just live on my disability and just a little bit of money from my own business as I wait for my business to get better. But I'm not relaxing doing nothing. But also I'm not like, oh my God, I had to get that gig. Not anymore. I'm also 57. So I'm
And
not,
you look good.
yeah, thank you. But I'm like, I'm not like, oh my God, it's a capitalism that makes you feel like you must have money for your kids. You must. My great grandmothers and my grandma, they didn't do all that, but they lived
You're
long and
right.
yeah. And so I've made peace with that. That whatever I have after I'm gone, my kids can split it amongst themselves, and I'm gone anyway. It's
I
like
get it.
yeah, I'm hoping that me being alive is worth more than any amount of money I can leave for them, or not. And I'm glad I've raised them to be able to get to the point where, everyone, everybody's on their own and that's all I get. That's all I get. Wow. Hmm.
Yeah.
Moving
I said
forward,
though, my
what
husband and I said 5 years. We got 5 years. We have a 13-year-old. He's the last of the Mohicans.
oh
So
yeah.
we we have 5 years, and he's already done 15 years in the government, so all he got to do is do 5 more years, and he has 20, right? And so he's like, 5 more years, we're moving out of the country. This is it. We will live off of our disability, but until that time, we just want to make sure that we give our 13-year-old the same standard of living as we did the older three.
Siblings,
And
yeah.
like making sure that like, and his care as well, right? Like, even though we do get champ VA and stuff like that, but because he's on the spectrum, he's very high functioning autistic, but
Said
I
that,
also
yeah.
want to always make sure that if we got to pay for anything out of pocket, we can pay for it out of pocket.
We can
Yeah.
afford it. Yeah. Wow. So as we wind down, where can people find you, follow you, support you?
Everywhere. Okay. Yeah. My website is www.grindandgrace.info. So it's grindandgrace.info. On Instagram, I'm Lencia L. Marshall. I have a Grind and Grace experience Instagram page. On Facebook, it's the same, Lencia L. Marshall and Grind and Grace experience. On Threads, of course, I'm Lencia L. Marshall. And yeah, so you all can find me there. I'm an author, so if you look up my name on Amazon, I have books that I've written, The Power of Saying No, um, like the 21-Day Purpose Guide for the Strong Friend. I wrote a book called The Wounded Healer. And so, yes, and I have a retreat coming up. I have a retreat coming up in September 17th to the 20th. It's called the Unbecoming Retreat. Yes, yes, yes. The
I am
shedding
so
of
proud
who
of
she was told to
you.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just so proud of you. All the books. I wish you had mentioned the books earlier, but hey, this is why you have to come back. You have to come back and talk about the books. I'm an
Absolutely.
author. I'm on my 10th book. So I'm very proud of you for being an author. This is just such a powerful thing. That's what I do now. I just work on my books and I just, I have this book is coming out on May 31st. So help me God. I just decided yesterday. I was like, wait, girl, when is your book coming out? Okay, so let's pick a date. So May 31st. So
I love
that's
that. Congratulations.
I said, thank you. I'm pretty much done with it. Actually, I finished the first week through and just a couple of cosmetic things, and then it should be ready for May 31st because I'm going to self-publish. I'm not wasting time trying to get all the things. All the other books were self-published and they all did well, and that's it. So, but
There
I'm
you go.
excited about just being done with it already. But yeah, wow. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So grindandgrace.info is your
Yes,
website?
that's my
Is a website?
website.
Okay, not
Mhm.
.com or dot.
Nope. Dot info.
Okay,
Because that's
that's
what you're going to
different.
find
Yeah,
there.
yeah, but
Information.
that's different. That's very, very different. That's good. And then Lencia, Lencia L Marshall on all social media platforms. Yeah,
Yes.
and then you have your
Yes.
book on Amazon as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So as we leave, I did this with my first guest. Since you're the second guest, I'm going to ask you again, what question do you have for the audience that you want them to answer in the comments? Because I want to make it as interactive as possible. I want you to subscribe to the podcast yourself, share it when your episode drops on Mother's Day. The first five will drop on Mother's Day. And I
Ooh,
want the people to watch the episodes and not be able to just watch one and then be like, oh, I want them to watch multiple. And then I want them to answer any question that you have for them, maybe one question or two that you want them to answer in the comments to make them feel like they're also interacting. One of the things I'm going to do that I decided with our first guests on episode one is I have about 52 people that have signed up for the show. That's 52 people that can watch each episode. So I'm going to make an email and send it to
I love
everyone
it.
with the episodes and then ask everyone to please watch and share because that's the whole idea. That's why I want us to come as a co-host and so you can have that ownership piece. So what question would you ask the audience if you had one, or for me?
I think the question would be, what is prohibiting you from being the greatest version of yourself?
Okay. I can tell you right now, for me is procrastinating on
Oh,
some things that I want to do and then choosing to do other things instead. But I think I am definitely on the verge of already being like a greater version that than I was yesterday, because I am in the space of, as a coach, asking myself, well, what will I do differently? As a matter of fact, this morning when I was getting ready for the show, I said, okay, so I was supposed to sign a brand new client this week. And I said, okay, so what will you do differently? I said, well, the truth is I didn't make enough. I just did not make enough asks. I did a few at the beginning of the week, but I didn't ask as the week kind of got older. I did other things. I was like, yeah. So I just said to myself, make an ask right now. And so I did that. But yeah, this is so interesting. So what's prohibiting you from becoming that greater self?
The greatest version of yourself. Yep.
Version, we'll take it, of self. And then hopefully they will answer the question, and then we'll keep it moving. Thank you so much, Coach Lencia, for coming this morning. Hopefully this was worth it for you. I know we had technical issues at the beginning, but
It's okay.
was it good?
Yes, absolutely. I had an amazing time chatting with you, and that's what we were co-hosts. We were chatting, like just like we know each other. And y'all, we do not know each other. Like
No,
this is our
no.
first time seeing each other, and I think that utilizing the resources and us being able to collab like this has been absolutely phenomenal. And I'm excited to see the other episodes of the podcast. I'm already subscribed because I went and watched the intro video. Okay. So I'm already subscribed. So I'm excited. And I absolutely am grateful that you said yes, right? Like, and not yes to me, yes to the purpose and the vision of
Yes.
Ask a Black Woman podcast. So
Yes,
yeah, I love
thank you so much. Listen, Lencia, I have one question for you. What do you think you would say to your inner child, little Lencia, watching you right now?
it. This is okay. Because as I was washing my face this morning, right? I looked in the mirror and I said, wow, the thing that I got bullied about, the thing that
About the
people
thing.
talk crazy about to me, right? Is the thing that I get complimented on a daily basis. And it is my skin. It is my face. Like people will ask me, what's your skin routine? I'm like, y'all, I ain't got one.
Routine.
I was like, I don't have one. I was like, I wash my face with water, and there's like this little oil, the oil, True Skin oil. Put a little bit in my hand, rub it, and that's what I put on my face, and that's it. I was like, I don't use anything else. And the thing that the enemy used to make me have an insecurity is the very thing that people literally affirm me on a daily basis. So talking to my inner self, that little girl, I tell her, baby, you fine. You are fine. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And no matter what anyone tells you, your black is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, people, that was episode 2 of Ask a Black Woman podcast. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I could talk to Black women forever, all day, and I will never feel like I'm tired, because it's like each one of us is just so unique and our stories are so intertwined, and you can almost always find yourself in other people's story. Because as we were talking, I was like, oh, I was all my reactions, because I was like, yes, that is true. That's me. I'm like, oh my God. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for saying yes to
Thank
us today,
you.
and thank you and let me know if you ever want to come back. The show is ours, for us, by us, because it's time. And like you said, ask a Black woman and you will get the
That is,
answer.
yes, I love it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording and we can call it a day. I had to learn that this morning. All right, everyone, join us on episode 3 of Ask a Black Woman podcast. And I do not know who's coming. It's going to be fun. We're going to find out together.